properties.
You know, I like to be able to talk.
Do you use the TV at all?
Okay.
No. I'm not hooking up to that today.
Okay, perfect.
I'm putting Or at least
3 or 4 business days.
yeah, trying to. Because it was cold and there was cold.
Hey,
We went out on the boat. We went out on the boat every day. And it was cold. Yeah.
I mean,
We went on the skis and yeah. I don't water ski until the water's warm, but we had jet skis.
oh, okay.
I'm getting on top of it.
It's been.
But I have skis.
How are you?
I want to see it. Two of us.
Yeah, I'm spotters.
And you have that for your life.
Fancy there.
See you, Mike. Nice to meet you.
I thought I'd make more money.
Oh, that sucks.
I'm in trouble.
Well, that's where I live.
Sucks to be,
So all my.
I gotta go, I can't stay in class, I gotta go.
Hey, Trey.
Bye. Be early.
I feel like it's.
Never a boy. Never a boy. That's on the way in here. And Mike, I don't know if you want to get started or not. This is Mike Levan. If you foreclosures. He's the master in town of this. Even if you've done a few of these, come back to, you can always pick up a little more information. So thanks for.
Yeah, hey, is there any way to get a piece of paper where everybody can sign? It's like, write your name,
Yeah. Hey.
Keller Williams and all
Every
that.
other
on it.
sheet of your, one sheet of your. Give a sign and sheet here. Oh. They should give you.
Yeah, y'all always have a great group, that's why I always call Carol. Then I remember that Carol's not well, so I call Teresa. I am Mike Levan, I'm with Berkshire Hathaway. I am the leading REO agent here. So I want to talk to you about, what's going on in REO, and I need to talk to you about, okay, because I'm one of the 2 HUD agents in town. I'm a HUD agent, Cheryl Baffett is the other. If you've been in real estate for more than 6 months, here, chances are you've had some type of an introduction to foreclosed properties. A lot of investors. Hold that seat up for you. I hope it's good. Last March, when the COVID, was obviously the COVID was going to be a little more. They stopped foreclosures. Okay, they just. One thing you've seen in the foreclosure world since then, 99% of that that were already foreclosed on, they were just slowly working their way through the system. To give an example, typically I would get 1 listing a week in REO. I have a listing assigned to me in over a month. So I mean, we are really at the end of that tunnel. The good news is we're getting ready to start this train moving again. Supposedly, June 30th is when the moratorium expires, and the banks are going to have to figure.
We held you and wouldn't kill anyone who tried to help us, wouldn't you? Yes. We can't allow you to risk your life.
Why not? I'm not alone. There are many of us who are against the Queen's cruelty. We would like to see her banished. If you help us, we are going to help you. I know everything. I heard the verdict.
It's dangerous for you to come here.
I must take the risk and so must you. Otherwise, the Earth is going to be destroyed.
Earth destroyed? By who? Juliana and that bunch of masked marvels of hers?
Don't underestimate the Queen. 10 Earth years ago, our world became involved with the planet Mordo. It was a terrible war. We fought with weapons of great power, and we still were nearly defeated. Finally, Mordo was destroyed. However, the war was won at great cost.
There's building around 9, count of 9 high-profile Republicans who may run for the White House. They're waiting on former President Trump's decision, of course, on whether he'll launch a 3rd presidential bid. Ronna, who do you think will run, or is it too early to predict?
I'm going to use a phrase from your previous guest, slow your roll. We don't want to talk about that yet. We're talking about 2022 right now. I'm not even going to talk about 2024. That's too early. It's 3 years from now. What I will say is any candidate who's looking at 2024 better be on the field helping us in 2022. Let's win back the House, let's win back the Senate. So any candidate that's serious about 2024, be an MVP in 2022.
All right, again, I'm going to slow my roll. I'm getting ahead of myself. Daniel, we'll leave it there. Slow my roll. I'm doing it. We're heading into the summer. It's a good time to slow my roll. All right, Ronna, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Exactly.
All right, let's check those. Thank you. Let's check the markets right now. Still in the green, perhaps a little off the early surge out of the gate. Susan, you're looking at some of the movers. You're watching Nokia, right?
A lot of roll talk just then. Yeah, but yeah, Nokia apparently. Look at the stock today. We're seeing it higher.
It's just, there's just so many, too many things to fix. You're gonna have to go with cash only on some of these things, or rehab loans. Do you guys have lenders come in and talk to these people about different types of financing?
Yes,
Yes,
but,
okay,
but not as much REO and
okay. Learn this financing, FHA 203B, repair escrow. FHA 203B, repair escrow. A regular FHA loan is called a 203B loan. A full renovation loan, you want to do anything to the house, you want to build a garage, you want to do an addition, do any of these things, that's called a 203K. In the middle is 203B repair escrow. 203B repair escrow will cover, and it will only cover, the items that the FHA appraiser says the house needs to have fixed to pass an appraisal. So you go into a house and here's a big item, HVAC. it's just, it's toast. There is no, it's not working. Somebody stole it. Okay, there's a good one. Somebody stole it, and that does happen on foreclosed properties. Somebody stole the heating and air conditioning system. Everything else looks good on the house. You can still do an FHA loan on this property, 3.5% down. I'm sorry, it's not a VHDA loan. It's not a USDA loan. You can't do those. I'm sorry, but you can do an FHA 203B repair escrow on this house. FHA 203B repair escrow will cover up to $10,000 in repairs. And because of my work with HUD and my work with REO, I'm very familiar with it. Some lenders are reasonably familiar with it and some aren't. But even if you ask your lender off the bat, are you aware of this? If they say no, that's what we're going to do. Okay, you have to do a couple things. You have to first you have to have a contract. You have to send a contractor out with a reasonable amount of knowledge of what the appraiser is going to ask for. Then you have to have a bid for the appraised repairs, mandatory FHA appraised repairs. That amount gets added to the loan. Buy a $100,000 house, they got $8,000 in repairs. So now their loan is $96,500 plus $8,000 in repairs. Okay, seller's not going to do anything. Buyer can't touch the house for closing. This is not like normally selling a house where you're working a deal. Okay, I'm working hard and I'm working a deal. You know, I'm asking friends for help. And what do you do? How do you structure this deal? It's going to be different, folks. Okay, you got to set it up with a licensed contractor, and all these people want one licensed contractor to oversee the deal. Okay, he can hire all the subs he wants. Okay, but they don't want you to go to this guy, a plumbing bid turned in. This guy over here is going to get an HVAC bid and turned in. Okay, this guy's got to repair the roof, and he's going to turn that. They're not going to do that. You got to have a Class A contractor to oversee the deal. All right. What else? Hopefully June 30th when they do start foreclosures again. Yay. It's a big train, folks. It takes a long time to get moving. It's a big process to foreclose on a house. They're ready. Okay, the banks and everybody's ready. The lawyers are ready, but they have to file. First thing to do is they have to file. They have to give notice. They have to publish notice in the newspapers. I think it's 2 weeks of publications, usually on. Usually see them on Sundays. I've seen these things published on Wednesday in the Alta Vista newspaper for a house in Appomattox. They don't make it easy, but they do the publications. Then they hold a courthouse auction. Anybody can go to the courthouse auction. They're going to be the steps. There'll be a lawyer standing there. Chances are he's going to have a suit and a tie and briefcase, and he's going to be saying there's a flagpole or whatever the courthouse is for the municipality, the county. Okay. Generally, they open the bidding at whatever is owed on the note. If anybody wants to go to these things, I would just highly advise you to make sure that you are a person that's either going to hire somebody or can do your own title work. If you buy a foreclosure at the courthouse steps, okay, you're buying the note. That's what you're doing. You're buying the note on this property. Any other liens and judgments are still in play. Any other encumbrances on this property, buying that right there is not wiping these out. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you're if you purchase that note and then you go and have the title search done and you find that there's more owed on it than what you paid, can you get out of it?
No.
So basically, how do people do that? That's the stupidest thing.
You'll lose your 10% deposit. They do require 10%.
You can get out and you have to leave your 10% deposit.
You're going to leave your 10% deposit. Okay. So,
Mike, what percentage of these get bought on the courtrooms?
I would say it's about 25%.
Okay.
Because a lot of them are piled up with other liens and judgments. So that's the thing. They've got their staff. If you could sell your, and unfortunately, in foreclosure is a terrible thing. This is what I do for them. I have to meet these people in some cases. Not in all of them, not in most of them, but. You know, when I get an assignment, okay, I get an assignment. My first job is to see if somebody's living in the house. If they are living in the house. Hi, I'm Michael Van with Berkshire Hathaway. How are you? You know, when are you moving? You do understand that you no longer own the house, correct? At that point, they know they no longer own the house, but they half of them for 10. Oh, I didn't know that happened. Nobody told me. I was waiting for somebody to show up and tell me about it. Here I am.
I bet you're not liked very much by this.
I don't like very much by a lot of people. So
We love you, Mike.
I wouldn't.
you have to have a certain ability to do this.
I couldn't do
You do. And I hear I hear some very sad. Yes, if you were weak emotionally,
Yeah.
you would cry a lot. I know. I mean, I'm sorry. Okay, bad things happen to good people, folks. And I say this to people all, bad things happen to good people. Okay, I was not there when the bad thing happened. I was not able to help you with that. I'm here to clear the mess. Okay, that's why I'm here. Okay, I'm sorry it happened. Okay. But let me tell you something. Do you have a place to move yet? No, I don't have a place to move. I'm doing one right now. No, I don't have a place to move. The bank is willing to pay you $2,000 right now. You got 30 days. Take everything you own. Don't tear the house up on your way out. We'll take everything you own. I'll come back with a check for $2,000. How's that sound? Keep in mind, you're living in a house that you probably haven't made a payment on at this point in a year. And that $2,000 varies, okay, depends on the value of the house. I've offered people as little as $500. I've offered people as much as $5,000.
Have you given them a check and they're still in the house? They just leave the money.
They don't get the check until the house is empty, you know. And I have shown up with the check in my hand and the house wasn't empty. And at that point, here's the thing. It's a whole lot better in this line of work, no matter what you're doing, it's a whole lot better in this line of work to dangle a carrot than it is to have a stick in your hand. Okay? At that point in time, when I show up, and I've had to come by and I have to inspect this house once a week, I have to drive by and see that they're still living there. I have to turn in a report. I've negotiated. I don't get paid a dime until I close a deal. Okay? All of this that I'm doing, I don't get paid for it until I close, until I sell the house. So at that point in time, when I get there and I have my check in my hand, I drop the carrot and now I have a stick in my hand. And I tell them, clean it up, go back tomorrow, okay? If it ain't clean, I'm sending the check back. And at this point in time, legally, at this point in time, they're out of the house, they just left a bunch of shit behind. At that point in time, I can just send a loss of number change loss, and we're done.
If they don't move out.
If they don't, great question. What happens if they had the foreclosure and they're still in the house? We go to court. Okay, not we, but the company goes to court and they file against them. Sheriff's Department lifts them papers. We're having a court for possession of the property. Okay, 9 times out of 10 they don't show up. So the bank is granted possession of the property. Now legally we have possession of the property.
So they can go
They're
stand
still,
outside.
yeah, legally we have possession of property. They're still there. So
Like y'all walk outside and watch us change the lights.
no, we're not there yet. Now the bank has to file a writ of an eviction. Okay, writ of possession, eviction. More time goes by. Mike has to do more inspections. And then a date is set in the future, a couple weeks. Mike has to meet the sheriff, deputy, not sheriff, but one of the deputies at the property with the deputy and locksmith. And if they're there, sheriff knocks on the door, we have a little conversation. Okay, if they're not there, locksmith opens the house, sheriff goes in, sweeps the house, checks every room, every closet, everything, makes sure nobody's in there. We post the house. They have 24 hours. Even if they're there, they get 20. It's called a 24-hour lockout. They get 24 hours to remove everything, and then property preservation shows up and throws everything in the trash.
Oh, gosh, that's just terrible.
I've got a man up in Vesuvius right now. And keep in mind, Vesuvius is a long way from Mikey Drive. So, and Vesuvius is at the very north end of Rockbridge County, and it's in the country. It ain't easy to get to. No matter how you get there, it's just not an easy place to get to. Nice brick house. I post notices on the house. Mike Levan, here's my phone number, here's my business card, give me a call. Go back, Mike Levan, give me a call. This goes on for months. Finally, because the house is determined to be vacant, that's already been foreclosed on. Because the house is determined to be vacant, they go through the court, do that first thing. Then we go through the court and do the second thing for the lockout. House is full of stuff. Full of stuff. All that stuff gets thrown in the landfill. Not 3 days ago, but Saturday before, I get a call on the phone. Hi, Mike, this is Bob Smith. What's happening over there at 800 Pie River Turnpike? Well, that's foreclosed on. I got a contract on it. It's sold. Where's my stuff? I didn't know this was going on.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, he did. He still lives in the county. Okay, he still lives in the county. Roberts County is a small county, people. It's like Appomattox County. Everybody knows everybody's business. Okay, to think that he would go for 6 months and not know what's going on is impossible. And he had stuff he got thrown away that I would want to throw away. And I tell people, you know, I'm sorry you lost your house. Let's save your stuff. Okay, but so this is the world I live in. When you do want to look at one of my properties, and you want to call me on the phone and say, Mike, how was the roof? I don't know. Look at it. You know, I'm not trying to be rude. I'm not trying to be flippant, but you're asking a stupid question. Okay. It's a foreclosed house. Chances are I either have no relationship or not a really, really good, friendly, long lasting relationship with the person who used to own the house. I don't know how old the roof is. I don't know how the water heater is. I don't know how old the HVAC system is. Chances are in most of these houses, I don't know if they are working. Okay, they do like us to turn the air conditioner on in the summertime because they don't want the house getting moldy and sticky and all that. So if it's running, they want us to turn it on and keep the house moderate. You know, same thing in the wintertime. Even though they winterize the house, they want us to keep the house moderated. They want it to be a house that you want to go in and spend a little bit of time looking around, look at the house. You know, in the wintertime, you don't want to do that. If you own the house, and the house is 30 degrees, it's 50 outside during the day, but it might be 30 inside this house.
Do you transfer utilities to your neighbor in that process?
In almost all of these properties, I am, I'd say half the properties, I'm responsible for transferring the utilities. I'm responsible for maintenance, upkeep, getting the grass cut every 2 weeks. I'm responsible, in some of these, I'm responsible for the trash out. I'm responsible for the lockout and rekey. I'm responsible for just about everything. And I have to, I'm doing all this for about, $2, $2.25, 2.5% commission. Very rare do they pay me a 3% commission. So I have to, all this goes in my name. I have to pay the bills. Thank God my wife is a bookkeeper by profession. So I pay my wife to do this. It's either pay her or pay somebody else.
So basically you have to have volume, you know.
I have to have volume.
It's been a bad year for volume. Yeah.
I have to have volume. Well, I mean, last year the average price of my sales, I think, was about $97,000. I forget. I turn about 1,500 profit per deal.
A lot of work.
A lot of driving. I noticed a lot.
Well, yeah, keep in mind, I said profit. I didn't say commission, profit. So after all my expenses, okay. But my wife, we pay the bills, we get the bills, we pay the bills, we submit the bills for reimbursement. There's a lot of work to do for nothing, right? So.
So if any of y'all think it's really cool to be the listing agent of.
Oh, I've heard people say, "Oh, I've got it easy. I've got it easy." God, I wish I was an REO agent. Man, they just hand you it. You don't even have to do anything.
Doesn't sound very expensive.
It's volume. It's what she just said. It's volume. Last year I did 70 73 or 74 deals. This year I won't, just because they put the kibosh on what I do for a living. Next year I'll probably get back to doing 100. So.
Oh, yeah, those floodgates are getting open right back up.
Fourth quarter this year is gonna be good. Yeah, third quarter, not so much. Fourth quarter will be pretty good. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of enjoying, I don't have a good assistant right now. I have a really good assistant, but she's only willing to work about 10 hours a week. Don't go anywhere and say I said Casey was not a good assistant. My assistant went on a full-time job. So I really need another really good assistant. I've had 2 remarkable assistants over the last 5 years. And I truly miss my first one back. I talked to her weekend actually. Any questions about general REO properties?
I was looking at a post the other day, it was a, I think it's an estate that doesn't have heirs. Now, would that go through the same process as?
And the state doesn't have heirs, and somebody just called your attention to this property and said, hey, will you find out something about this, Pat? Is that what we're talking about? Okay. And you don't think there's any heirs?
That's my understanding.
Is there a note? Is there a mortgage?
I haven't.
Is it a paid for house just sitting there? Because if it's a paid for house just sitting there, it's not gonna be a foreclosure unless the county goes after it for taxes.
Okay.
Okay? If it's a house just sitting there, somebody died and had a mortgage on it, it's gonna get foreclosed. You can probably, you might be able to find out depending on how long they live there, if you felt like actually doing the research and going to the courthouse. What county are we talking about? City or county?
Bedford.
Bedford. Go to Bedford, go to the courthouse, pull the deed and see if right next to the deed is a deed of trust. So, did we ever get that list of people's names?
Yeah, I had, Trey, can you add everyone?
I did. I put everybody that's jumped on the.
Thank you.
I
I added some at top and then the thing went out. I was like, ah.
Yeah, I've got them all.
That's why I love you. I didn't know I was on Zoom. Hi. I'll smile.
Oh, they get a smile, huh?
Do any of them have questions? Do any of you have questions? Can you turn the volume?
It's on. If they talk, you'll hear them.
They have to mute and unmute themselves, so they'll unmute if they have a question.
This is Joan Griffith. I have a question.
Yeah.
Am I talking over someone else? I couldn't tell.
No, go ahead, Jen.
Okay. I'm pretty familiar with foreclosures and short sales and all that kind of stuff, but I am almost like kind of wondering why you're doing this for so little money. Is that a crazy question? Has anyone ever pulled a gun on you or anything?
I do a lot of volume and it keeps me busy.
It keeps you busy and you have a lot of volume.
A lot of volume. I do 70 on average, on average, probably 70 transactions a year.
Okay, so my question, I guess, is really, I have some clients that have some money and I'm just trying to figure out if, maybe the type of personality I need to find that would want to do this if I wanted to help them.
If you want to help them do what?
I don't know. I mean, some of
Do you want to become an REO agent?
I would be their buyer agent, maybe. Maybe that doesn't even make sense. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure this out.
Yeah, well, there's a big difference between, if you want to be their buyer's agent and you want to help them try and find foreclosures. I can't imagine your business will be any different than it is helping somebody buy any other house. If you want to jump in and be an REO agent, I would say emotionalness is certainly a good way of putting it. You'll find that the REO agents in the market here, my good friend Cheryl Daffner, she only does HUD, so I don't really count Cheryl as really an REO agent. That's all she does is HUD. It's because she got into it years ago. She's not interested in doing any others other than HUD. But there's myself, there's Mike Missions, and there's Peggy McCall, are the probably handle 90% of the REO business in town. Marlene handles a few. what's the guy's name on there, Mark A. Dalton?
Mike Levan.
No, not Michael Bain, I'm Michael Bain.
I mean, not Mike Levan.
Missions, yeah, of course, he does, his biggest client is Fannie Mae. Who's the Italian guy over there at Mark A. Dalton? Short,
Oh.
John.
I can't remember what his name was.
John, he has like one REO client, okay? But as far as what we do, you will find that most of us we're very abrupt people. We're direct.
Grinch.
I
Joan,
don't-
you do not want.
I
to
don't
be-
waste a lot of time. I'm not interested in doing what most agents are going to be interested in doing is you're going to have time involved in your client, okay? You have to be an asshole, and I'm a good one. Does that help?
So I need to find one of my clients that's an asshole. Is that what you're saying?
No.
No, you can still be the buyer's agent.
You can be the buyer's agent, be a wonderful, you can be a buyer's agent, be a wonderful person. Just understand that the listing agent that you're going to deal with is going to be an asshole. Okay?
Yeah, I can, so I'm just really trying to figure this out. I'm not trying to be funny. I really don't know why I could or would want to, other than helping people that I represent find fixer-uppers or something like that. Is that possible? Or am I just off the ball? I actually can't hear now.
Again, as the buyer's agent, tell your buyer all the things that I'm telling the group, okay? Make sure they understand that when they're buying a house, it's different than when you're buying somebody that owns a house, okay?
Right.
The only difference you need to know is you're going to get into a market and you're going to be buying foreclosures. One, they are highly competitive. I'm not sure how much right now, other houses are getting. I know they're getting multiple offers. I don't know if they're getting 10, 15, 20 offers like I'm getting on every listing. Okay. I don't know if that's happening. They might you'd be getting 5 or 10, but
Yeah, I mean,
how are you
normal
doing?
houses are getting 25 and 20. I mean.
You
know,
still are. Okay.
yeah.
So everybody's getting between 5 and 20 offers on a house. Okay. Let me just jump to something that's going to help you, and I hope it helps everybody here, because I have this conversation with a lot of buyers. You have listings, you're going to get buyers. Okay, whether you want to work with them or not, that's something else. But if you have listings, you're going to get buyers. If you want buyers, get listings. Okay. As a dual agent, I am not allowed to tell people how much to offer on a house. I am restricted to only doing a market analysis for them. I can do a market analysis for them. I can tell them, and I should tell them everything that's going on in the market. I should tell them that there's a lot of offers going on in every other house, but I cannot coach them. I cannot coach them on an offer. But I tell every buyer I work with the same thing, whether it's one of my listings, and honestly, I try to sleaze out of even, if I'm showing Teresa's listing, I try to tell them, look, this is what you need to do. We've looked at houses, folks. There's houses, there's a ton of offers out there. We need to go in strong. You need to go in with your best offer. The most amount of money that you are willing to pay for this house and not one penny more. The most amount of money you're willing to pay for this house and not one penny less. Okay? You need to be prepared as a buyer, Mrs. Buyer, you need to be prepared as a buyer to walk away from this deal if you don't get it and not be emotionally attached. Okay? You need to accept that somebody else is simply willing to pay more money for this house than you are. It means more to them than it does to you. Okay, please, please, please do not go away from this deal if you don't get it and say, I wish I had offered more, because I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to be happy, because I will have done all this work and you would have been willing to make a better offer and you didn't. Okay, it's just the way it is.
Great verbiage,
Okay,
everyone.
and I try and tell people this, I don't mind helping y'all. Okay, I'm in competition with every single one of you. I don't mind helping. Just it gets it off your shoulders. If they insist, then as a buyer's agent, y'all got to step up. Okay, if they insist, I can't. As a dual agent, I can't. And there are very, very, very few deals that you'll ever see me in the MLS do that I represent a buyer that I do not also represent the seller. Okay.
Very rarely ever see, yeah.
So she moved. There she is. Okay, Joan. Am I helping you any?
I'm still kind of lost, but I think I get a better picture of what you're saying. I'm just trying to figure out what I could do to help people and my clients. And
How long have
I'm
you been
still
an agent,
thinking,
Jen?
I'm still thinking it's a lot of work for Poquito, you know? And a lot of, I mean, do a lot of people get really upset and mad at you and yell at you and stuff like that?
People get mad and yell at me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I yell back.
Okay.
Joan, to help your clients, you're trying to help your clients buy a foreclosure or an REO or a HUD or whatever. You're not gonna be the listing agent.
I'm not sure I'm not. I'm just asking the question because,
Okay.
you know, at the lake, it's probably a lot different than it is in Lynchburg, you know?
But Mike, you've got.
But I do think next year it's gonna be coming to everybody. You know?
You have to be certified for that.
No, you don't.
I would-
It's
I
hard
would
to,
do that.
I bought a course a long time ago, and I took a course to teach me how to, do what I had to do. I was fired a long time ago from another team, and 6 months later, I was the #1 REO agent. So, sometimes motivation is the driving force. It costs money to be made too. Okay, I have to be in systems. Okay, I'm in Equator, ResNet, HUD system, Pyramid, Cascade, VA. I think there's one more. I just can't remember what it is. There's so few REOs coming in. That's why I forget. Half of these systems cost. I have to pay yearly and monthly to be in these systems. Okay. Plus all the certification. I do have to take certifications. Okay. After once you pay, you have to take certifications. I have to pass multiple background checks a year. It would be awesome if the National Association of Realtors would adopt a background check requirement, a stringent background check requirement that we could then share with everybody. But there are at least 3 systems I'm in that I have to pass a national background check every year, and you pay for them, but not free. They're anywhere from $50 to $80 that I have to pay for. So.
If you're going to do it, Joan, I think if you're gonna do it full-time, like Mike does, that's his thing. I feel like it's a great business, but if you're only gonna do 1 or 2, I don't feel that it's up to anyone else. I don't feel that it's worth it to list one because the learning curve that you would have to do that one, it's hard enough to bring a buyer to one, let alone if you're trying to list one and follow all the protocol.
My philosophy on part-time agents is very hardcore. I don't like them in general. This is what I do, folks. This is full-time. On an easy year, right now, even with very, very few listings, I'm working 40 hours a week. I feel like I'm doing nothing. I mean, when things are rolling, next year when I'm doing over 100 sites, I'll be working 60, 65 hours a week. It's just what I do. And I think every realtor out there committed themselves to actually working 40 hours a week or more. They do a lot of business, and they also run out all these agents that are out there doing 3 sites a year. If you're doing 3 sites a year and each side's $1 million, that's probably okay. But the thing is, I don't know how an agent stays current with all the things that are happening in real estate. I don't know how they stay current with all the information you need to have if you're only doing a couple sides a year. I just don't understand. You learn by doing, and I will tell you this, you learn more by making a mistake than you ever learn by sitting in a class and learning to do it right the first time. Because I can tell you in real estate, I've said that I've been doing it for 24 years. By and large, this company is an exception. I will say that. I'm not just blowing smoke. You guys do a ton of training at this company, but by and large, out there in the world, nobody tells you anything in real estate until you screw it up. Once you screw it up, boy, will they tell you? They will tell you big time. HUD for a minute. What is a HUD home? People have a lot of different ideas and misconceptions about what HUD home is. HUD home is just another foreclosure. It went through the process just like any other foreclosure did, but it was an FHA loan of some one of the types of FHA loans, it was an FHA loan. With an FHA loan, try to understand that the bank, whoever it is, whoever Movement sells their stuff, BB&T, Bank of America, any of these, Wells Fargo, whoever all these banks are these days, they did the loan, okay, but FHA insured the loan. FHA insured the top 20% of the loan, all right? The house gets bad things happen to good people, all right? The house gets foreclosed on, the bank tries to sell the note on the secondary market, they're gonna cash in on their top 20% insurance. Let's make the numbers easy, $100,000 house, they're gonna get their 20K on the top. And they're gonna try and sell the rest for 80K. If you don't have money to make your mortgage payment, folks, chances are very, very, very good you do not have money to regularly maintain your home. I can walk into a foreclosure and within 3 minutes, I can tell you, is this a foreclosure as a result of long-term financial difficulty, or is this a foreclosure as a result of a catastrophic event wiping out your finances or death? Okay, it's just, is the house in good shape or is the house in bad shape? When the bank cannot sell this $100,000 house for even $80,000 because of the condition of it, they go to HUD, okay, and they say, you guaranteed this loan, here's your house, where's my money? That's how a house becomes a HUD-owned home, all right? These houses are put on the market for 100% of the appraised value. There's a local appraiser here in this area that will go out and they will appraise the house in its current as-is condition, minus defects. And they'll say this house is worth X number of dollars. I also do a market analysis on the house. Just like everything else, I get graded on everything I do with HUD. I get graded on timeliness. But one of the things we get graded on is our accuracy in our pricing. I'll recommend a price, the appraiser recommends a price. I have no idea if this guy over here is getting graded on his appraisal, but I'm expecting to sell this house within 10% of what I said it was going to sell for. And if I don't, my score gets dinged. Okay, if I'm late with the cash, again, I get sent a listing. I could be sent a listing right now while I'm sitting here talking to you. I have 24 hours to go over there, put a lockbox on the house, put keys on the house, takes about minimum 50, maximum I've done is 80, 85 pictures of the house. Upload all those pictures in the system, label them what they are, why I took that picture, and do a form that has probably 100 questions on it.
How do you go on vacation?
That's really, really difficult. Casey is still there for me. Wonderful girl. I have a bag. I carry actually two, but I have two big bags full of lock boxes and keys. And you know, so here, Casey, here's my bag.
She can take.
But I work on vacation. I've been self-employed since I was 24 years old. I mean, I've never. People go on vacation and people that leave work at 5 o'clock and go home are foreign to me. You know,
Yeah, oh yeah.
You know, I'm married to one, thank God. And she doesn't have to put up with the same stress I do. You know, she go home the weekend, she doesn't have
A
to.
non-working vacation is very.
But I mean, I feel very sorry for my wife.
She doesn't know what it is.
She's never done it.
I was gonna see her. Like,
You know, believe it or not, my wife does like to spend time with me. You know, we went to Disney World a few years ago, and this was me at Disney World.
Running into Mickey Mouse.
Oh, that's great. Here, I gotta do this email.
Hence why you get grumpy when somebody asks a stupid question that you've already taught the class.
Yeah, I don't really like stupid questions. And I will always tell people, please, if you have questions, ask them. Just because I think it's a stupid question, it's not a stupid question. An unasked question is much worse than your fear of embarrassment. Okay, and this is what I do every single day. It's not what you do every single day. So
Mike's favorite question is, how many offers do you have on that HUD home?
I know, and yeah, and let me help you with that. Thank you. HUD is a system that you put in your offer yourself. There's a couple systems out there like this now. I think they're great. It is so much better for all of you. Okay, if one of you, Trey puts it on, if she has, Trey puts in an offer on one of my listings. She calls me up on the phone and sends me a text, which has happened. I don't know it. Okay, so if you put an offer on, I don't know it. It's a secret. Okay, it does not give the listing agent any advantage, is what I'm trying to tell you. So, and that's really where I developed that speech to my people. offer the most money you're willing to pay for this house, not a penny more, not a penny less.
I emailed you one time.
And we'll go from there.
You schooled me on HUD real quick.
I'm
But this
sorry.
is how this works. It's like, thank you.
No, I'm pretty sure that's
No.
why I said when I was a new agent, I was like, hey, Mike, how many offers do you have?
And then I asked you how many offers you had, and literally it was like in the 20s. And I was like, thank you. Have a great day. I hope you get a good
There's
one.
some of them I get a really good idea. I mean, if I've got a house and I'm thinking, wow, I put this price on it, the appraiser came in 20,000 less than me, the market we're in, and I'm getting 15 calls, 20 calls a day for appointments. Come on, people. Even though I don't see it, I know there's 20 offers on property. Okay, so, but anyways, the system, you're gonna put your offers in yourself. What else? They are, again, strictly as is, where is. Owner occupants can do home inspections and get out of the contract if they're not happy with the home inspection. Investors can do a home inspection, and if they're not happy with the contract, they will not get their deposit back. They expect investors to be savvy and be able to go in and look at a house.
So an individual gets their money back.
Individual
That's
will
not the
get
four
the-
steps, they don't, but on a regular purchase, they get their money back, but investors do not.
An owner occupant, okay, you're buying a house to live in it. Owner occupant is what HUD says to somebody that A, has not bought a HUD house in the last 2 years as an owner occupant. B, intends to live in this house as their primary residence for at least 12 months. You get a lot of parents calling up saying they want to buy a house for the kid, going over here, college. Not a problem. You're gonna either buy it as an investor, or you're gonna put the kid on the deed. Okay, you wanna put the kid on the deed, we got 3 people on the deed, we got the child, mom and dad, all y'all are on the contract, all y'all are on the deed, only one person has to live in the house. You meet the requirement of being an owner occupant. Fannie Mae has some owner occupant requirements.
I know all about that.
Right,
And
so-
you wait so many days, right, before investors can come in?
HUD houses, depending on the condition of the house, there's 2 different ways to do it. If this house will only qualify for cash or a renovation loan, which means in their opinion, needs more than $10,000 of repairs, remember that 203B thing? That house is only gonna go on the market for 5 days. And I will tell you, it's 5 days when it's their system, not 5 days when it's the MLS. They put them in their system a day before it even comes to me. Once it comes to me, I have a day to put it in the MLS. So it might be 3 days from the time you guys see it. Always go to the webpage, HUDhomestore.com. Always go to the webpage. Those are very few houses. Most of them fall in the 203B repair escrow category. There's going to be a 10-day period for owner occupants. I'm not going to look at any offers until day number 11. Again, it's day number 11 from when they started it in the system. All right. On day number 11, they will look at any and all offers. In this market right here, right now, it will be sold. Okay. But in the normal market, it may or may not be sold. They have a formula. Somebody's sitting at a desk looking at a computer, and if it doesn't meet the formula, they're not going to take the offer, even though it's the highest offer they have. Okay. If that happens, we're going 5 more days. But every single day, we're going to look at offers. Owner occupant still. Okay. Then it opens up to the world. Then it opens up to the investors. Used to be for the houses that were really, really, really bad shape, we knew there was almost never going to be an owner occupant to buy that. Today, because there are no houses for sale, owner occupants are buying them. So a lot of these are just not even medical investors. What are you going to say to your client? Your client says, how do they know if I'm living in the house or not? When they ask me that question, I'm almost done with this conversation.
Find another agent.
Okay, I am like this close to being done with the conversation. Okay.
And they do ask.
And that, they do. Okay, but at that point, I have to tell them, look, it's in the contract. That's what's, there's a word for that, and it's called fraud. It is in the contract. They pointed out to you that 12 months in jail, $2,500 fine. And if I did it for you, knowing that you were doing this, I'm losing the #1 source of my income. on an annual basis.
Do they send
So,
somebody by to
yeah.
check them?
My friendship with you, I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care what a great buyer you are. I don't care if you're gonna buy, 2 or 3
I
more
didn't lose my
houses.
job for you.
That's right. I'm not losing my job for you. I just had to quit something else because I wasn't going to lose my career. I was the vice chairman of Campbell County Republican Committee, and I had to resign this weekend because they were doing things that
Not ethical.
are not. To them, they are, okay, but they are not in line with our expectations of realtors under the National Association of Realtors Code of Conduct and what we're expected to do.
And if someone tries to cheat the system, sometimes you just have to realize what they could do to you. If they did get caught, the first thing they're gonna do is act like you told them they could. I mean, you just can't trust someone, you can't trust someone who is deceitful.
Well, I can tell you what happens because it has happened in this market, okay? When it happens, and 3 months later, 4 months later, a for sale sign goes in the yard. And the other investors that wanted to put offers on this house abided by the rules and we're waiting. Somebody's gonna turn it in, okay? Guess who comes knocking at your door? The FBI.
Wow. That'll scare them out of it.
The FBI shows up. I know because the realtor that relisted the house told me. I'm not gonna say his name because he had no knowledge, okay? He was not a part of this deal, so I'm not even saying his name. But he told me he was eating lunch at FBI, 2 FBI showed up and when we talked to him, he said, I want to eat lunch. And they said, we want to talk to you.
That was a moment.
Man.
So,
It was scary.
yeah, yeah. So anyways, don't be scared of doing HUD houses. A lot of people are just scared. Oh, I don't want to do this. Look, you're just learning a new thing. Okay. All of real estate is a new thing for almost everybody at one point in time. I didn't just fall here knowing everything I know. It took me a long time to get to where I am. Don't be scared of doing REO. Make sure your clients don't do things like hide the listing agent sign once they get a contract. I went through a period of time that buyers, oh, it's my house now, so they pick up my sign and go hide it somewhere. I'm required to have signage in front of these houses until it closes. I'm not allowed to put if you see a HUD house and it has a little HUD rider on it, that's it. I'm not even allowed to have a Michael Van rider on the sign. I'm not allowed to have a rider that says, hi, honey, stop the car. I'm not allowed to have a rider that says on contract, sold, none of that. It's our company sign and HUD's rider.
Hey, Mike, I have a question. All of us get calls constantly with someone saying, I saw this house is coming up for foreclosure, and of course you can't find them anywhere. And then you find it online, it's owned by a bank, blah, blah, blah. Is there any way to get to that property?
I'm not gonna say concretely no, but what all the lenders have learned is they try to sell these on the notes on the secondary market. Okay, some of them do. There's people out there buying up paper. Okay, and let them deal with it. Some of these foreclosures are people that bought paper and now they want to sell it. Okay, they want it, and they know what's happening in the market. Okay, they're not dumb. They're not, they want these houses exposed. Almost every foreclosure company I work for right now has some minimum requirement that a house has to be on the market. I laugh when I go on Facebook and I see these, puts up a sign there, sold in 6 hours. Well, how the hell do you know you got the most money for your client?
Yeah.
Because your client took an offer in 6 hours? Are you kidding me?
Not today's market, yeah. Like an example is.
5 days is the minimum. I'm sorry, 5 days is just about the minimum for any of my clients. It has to be on the market. And I have people calling all the time for what you're saying. Okay. I have agents calling all the time. Mike, tell me about this house. No.
And you don't know really, how they contact you. Like there's 2 on Cottontown, the builder went out of business, blah, 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 owned by a bank. And, and they just think you have this magic wand that you can, find
My
out.
prospecting is to companies. Okay. Just like y'all out there prospecting every day, whatever you're doing. Okay. I prospect whole companies. Okay, I don't prospect a house like y'all. I just, it's harder to get to the company. Okay, once I get to the company, I get locked in, you know, I might get 3 listings from this company next year. I might get 15 listings from this company next year. Okay, so it behooves me to do the grunt work and do all that and get hooked into the company.
And not cause them problems, because the fewer problems you give them, the more houses you get.
It's really easy for them to look into all these other systems that I mentioned earlier. And say, well, look, there's another agent that's in that same market doing what Mike does. Mike's a pain in the ass. You know, Mike didn't know what we told him to do. You know, Mike didn't do that too many times. So
You have to be organized
you know,
to listen.
fortunately, with those systems, if it's going through those systems, I don't need a CRM. That is my CRM. Every day I get emails telling me what I have to do. I might not know what I need to do tomorrow. Okay, but when a task is going to pop up, it's going to pop up and it's going to say, Mike, you got to do this. You got 1, 2, 3, 5 days to go. Okay, so all I have to do is just like you guys log into a CRM, probably. Kelly Williams probably has a good CRM or something, right? I just log into my systems and I look at my list of to-dos. I'm woefully lacking in my fair market value. I don't have a CRM. I don't use a CRM. When I'm doing a transaction outside of one of these systems, I get all nervous and jump in.
So there's another question. If for HUD, is that correct that if one agent is HUD certified, that the company cannot, no other agent in the company can make offers on a HUD house? Is that correct?
Berkshire Hathaway, Dawson Ford Garvey, and Long and Foster, Cheryl Dacker. Okay, nobody at either of our 2 companies, because we are the listing, we hold the master listing agreement. That's what it's called, master listing agreement for that asset management company, HUD, in this market. Nobody at our companies or their immediate family members can buy a HUD house nationwide.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so
Because we've had people
Mr.
asking
Dawson?
if we would do it, and I'm like, well, then, you know.
if you would try to get on with as a listing agent on the listing side,
Yeah, because it's, so the question is, if your office, like obviously Robert is, I guess he owns those,
owns what?
the listing. as
Well,
the
technically,
broker.
yes, he's a
Yeah.
broker, so technically, yes.
So no
I got
one-
the contract.
Yeah.
I
but
mean,
no
I
one
go out
in
and do the
your
grunt work and
office-
say, here, sign the trial.
Yeah, nobody in your office can buy any HUD property.
Correct.
That's.
You can't even own a 1% ownership in an LLC. Okay, believe me.
Mhm.
They've
You can't
tried.
buy your own. for
They've
instance.
tried.
Yeah.
They've tried.
Okay.
So
Good.
Alice isn't here, but
Yeah, her husband.
her husband didn't know.
Mhm.
Okay, they didn't know the rules. She had just come onto our company. He submitted an offer on one of them, and I had to tell Richard, I'm sorry, you can't. And we had to have, you know, I had to explain to Richard, I'm sorry. You know,
That was
we
one of
can't.
her questions when she came here, and that was one of the reasons, because now.
Yeah, y'all don't do any art at this company. And the thing is, VA, Veterans Administration, we're listening agency for the VA. Their rule is disclose. So if we disclose and they say yes, then it's okay.
What is a VA foreclosure called?
A VA foreclosure.
It's a VA foreclosure, so it's not like HUD and the FHI.
No, there's Fannie Mae, there's Freddie Mac, there's HUD, and we just call VA just VA.
Right.
They have, there's a tremendous amount of work that's done with those. So, but none of those are going through the system either. Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, all the governments, I mean, the paperwork is tremendous.
Did you show us what the sites are, like when you need to put an offer in, because we don't hand you the offer. I know we go into a site for each one of them.
It will be in a listing, okay? If it's going through a system, it will be in the
They will be in
listing.
listing, okay.
Read the agent remarks. Do what no other agents do, okay? Do what no other agents do. Because I'm going to put in the agent remarks. and this is not HUD, okay? I'm not gonna put in the agent remarks for this house over here on Beasley. All buyers agents must submit their offers through propoffers.com. Any accepted offer is subject to $180 management fee. For any successful closing, the buyer's agent will be charged at closing. Don't feel bad about that. I get charged that same 180. They're getting $360 on a deal for going through their system. It's just, I mean, honestly, it's a communications portal. So they're charging $360.
So don't be surprised when you pay $180 if you haven't read it. You have to read it.
I don't think I've had to pay one, but I've seen the listings.
Yeah, there's a
I've done
couple, but that's not gonna be the public remarks, okay? In HUD, I am required, with HUD, I am required to put in HUDhomestore.com, okay?
In the
So,
regular.
in the regular public remarks for all buyers to see, you know, there's stuff that gets sucked out and sent to Zillow. A lot of the stuff you were talking about, I thought where you were going with that earlier was Zillow, this pre-foreclosure.
Yes, that is what I was talking about, yeah.
Again, I'm adamantly opposed to this. I don't think we should be advertising people's financial difficulties on the largest real estate website in the world. But they are. I think we have fed the monster that's going to kill us, folks. I'm gonna tell you right now. Anybody paying a dime to Zillow, you are feeding the monster that wants you out of the business. And that's where it's going.
You know, they also put pre-foreclosures on homes that are not in pre-foreclosure. And, you know, because I've gotten phone calls.
And there you go.
You know, with people, a little old lady bawling because somebody was trying to she thought somebody was taking her house that was paid for. And by the time I dug into it, I told her to get an attorney and to sue them. I said, you need to go and, you know, if your house is paid for and they have now caused you distress, then maybe you need to seek legal advice.
I'm not sure what the criteria is.
I know what it is, I asked them.
As far as, I know that statistically, once a person gets 45 days behind on your mortgage, there's a 90% chance. There's a 90% chance, folks, you will never catch up.
Wow.
That could also be done through your property taxes too. If you're behind, that would pop up because they're taken from.
Yeah, and there's a reason, I mean, PITI, okay? There's a reason PITI, property interest, taxes, and insurance. There's a reason PITI is in your lender, okay? Your lender wants to make sure those property taxes are paid because that property tax lien is superior to their bank lien. Which means they can foreclose on that house because you owe $3,000 in taxes. Forget about the fact that you owe $200,000 on your mortgage. County's taking your house, okay? And the bank's SOL. So there's a reason, but I am adamantly opposed to that process. I've told other agents to call me up about it, and I actually know a couple agents that will do it. You know, I said, if you got the guts, just go knock on the door and say, you know, I'm sorry, I know this is a sensitive situation, but Zillow was saying your house is a pre-foreclosure. We'd like to sell your house today. I have a buyer right here.
I'm not gonna go.
Come with me, buyer. You know, do you want to sell your house right now? It's a terrible thing to lose your house in foreclosure. Okay, a lot of people want to pretend it's not happening, and they keep pretending it's not happening. They keep pretending it's not happening until it has happened. Then they want to deny that it happened. Okay, there's nothing wrong. You all got the guts to do it. There's nothing wrong with doing nothing on these people. There are people in these classes that do this stuff. Okay, go knock on the door. When the tax thing gets published, okay, tax lien, tax officers, when they get published, there are people that will go around and knock on those people's doors. Every one of them. I know a guy that bought one.
I had one this weekend that Alicia found on my homes.com.
You're welcome.
And they basically had $120,000 equity in their house.
Yep.
And they're 3 months behind in forbearance. So I'm like, look, you don't understand. And they're like, where do we go? And I said, go rent a house. Take $120,000 and go rent a house.
Yeah.
Or you're going to lose it and you've got nothing.
Yeah.
But mentally, something's wrong with their head. Like
She got something wrong.
They're just scared people, you know, and so they're just gonna sit there possibly until it happens. And lose $120,000 or more. Yeah. So it's just bizarre.
Either once or twice in all my years of doing this, I've actually had somebody fight after the house was foreclosed on and get the house back. There's a couple that was going through either going through a divorce or had been divorced. The husband was no longer living in the house. Wife was living in the house. Her income went from 60,000 a year to 16,000 a year. They only owed like 3 years of payments left on this house,
Oh
something
my
like that.
gosh.
She never told him. She pretended it wasn't happening. House got foreclosed on. She pretended she didn't know anything about it when I came and knocked on the door. You know, one of those situations. The husband found out. He was not happy. Okay, he was not happy. It's not that he wasn't happy with me. He just was not happy. He hired a lawyer and he fought him and he fought him and he fought him. He got that house back.
Wow. Wow.
She moved out of that house, and at that point, I could have changed the locks because the house was vacant. He moved. He must have talked to the lawyer or something. The lawyer told him to move in. He moved in that house right away. He started doing all kinds of stuff in his house. That's what that made me leave.
Wow. Well, I'm glad he got it back.
And I had to keep going back. I probably made 40 inspections on this house, and he got it back, and I didn't get it.
Wow.
I got zero for that deal. But I was happy for him. So,
Mhm.
you know,
In that circumstance.
I can go make, a couple $1,000 somewhere else.
Mhm. Wow.
It would have sucked if he lost 90,000 in equity.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I would, the people you're talking about, I would absolutely, I mean, if they got 120 grand in equity in the house and they're saying, where am I gonna go? Dude, sell your house. Put the
I
money in your
don't think
pocket.
she thinks she's going anywhere.
Well, yeah, and the crazy thing is though.
They're in forbearance right now?
Well, he's in forbearance, but yet I said, well, did you lose your job during COVID? He said, no. I said, were you making less money during COVID? He said, no. And I'm like,
Why are you not paying your
then
mortgage?
why are you not paying? Why does everybody think they just don't pay their mortgage because of this, unless you're in hardship?
Or is he, and she's not?
No, it's
No,
not.
okay.
And they really truly, like the rest of the country, think that they have a free ride with the government. It's
Technically forbearance,
Mhm.
technically forbearance means when they lift it, they can call that back pay due immediately, folks. They don't have to move this to the end of the loan. So if you have even an easy mortgage, $1,000 a month. If you have $1,000 a month mortgage that you have not paid in 12 months because you're in forbearance, you said, woohoo, this is my ticket to go out and buy that new car, buy that new boat, whatever. We've been in forbearance for 15 months coming up. Bank can come up and say, you owe us $15,000 right now, or we will foreclose on your house. That's what forbearance is, folks.
And there's so many people that are not understanding that. I've tried to explain that to them.
Now, if you've been in forbearance, does that affect your credit?
We really should have a lender up here for that.
It seems like though we've had people trying to buy, and there have been some weird issues with people trying to buy when they were in forbearance.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't understand it. I don't understand it either.
I wouldn't think so until they got that.
Who y'all hooked up with?
$15,000.
McClain? You also, you're at least still
Yeah,
back here?
we'll ask TJ with it.
Okay, yeah, ask TJ, see what he says. I try to know enough about, financing to properly educate a buyer on some things, but I can try to leave, the rules. We're not supposed to pretend we're home inspectors, lawyers, lenders, psychiatrists.
But we have to know it all. of this.
We are psychiatrists.
We're expected to know it all, but I can tell you, I preface almost every one of those conversations with, I'm not a lender, but I can tell you what my experience has been. I'm not a home inspector, but I can tell you that huge crack in the wall over there, and the wall's bowing in, you need to talk to a home inspector about that, okay? Learn that phrase too. I'm not a but. Okay? Any other questions?
Very, very helpful.
Who's worked with investors? Any of y'all?
I work with investors.
Anyone work with investors today? It's hard, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
We're all waiting. They're waiting.
There's too many of them, not enough properties.
I have a hard time not laughing every time an investor calls me up on the phone right now and say, oh my. And then nationwide, I mean, they're calling people nationwide, okay? I mean, all over the state, all over the country. Mike, I see you sell a lot of foreclosures. Put me on your list. No. No, I'm sorry. Why would I put you on my list? You know? I've got local people right here I can work with. And it's just right now, there are so many of y'all in the market. And the requirements are such that, you know, the house has to be on the market a certain number of days. You know, there's no way I'm getting you in the door with an offer that's going to be accepted before 50 people see the house.
This is not an investor market that we're in. It's just not. I mean, I tell mine, I'm like, why don't you just wait a year or two?
Yeah.
This is not.
I mean, they all want me to send me the list of the houses before they even hit the
Yeah.
market, you know.
But that doesn't mean they're gonna get them anyway.
Yeah. And they all have the same spirit. Everyone, cash off, close in 7 days. Cash off. No inspections. The house I listed in Roanoke, after about the 4th agent called me to tell me, Mike, I got full price cash offer, close in 7 days. I just laughed at it. I said, bring it. Bring it. I said, that's the lowest offer I had. You bring it. I got 19 offers.
And a lot of cash ones.
The house sold for 40,000 over list.
So you do cover what areas?
Virginia.
Centrally.
You know, times are lean, okay, so I'm doing a lot more than I used to do, but I mean, I've had listings in, I've still got something going on in Albemarle County, Charlottesville area. I cover Fluvanna, Lake Monticello, Roanoke, Bedford, Bodcott, Rockbridge.
Mountain Lake, I suppose.
You know, funny thing is, I get, you know, almost none, those people actually are still going to sell their houses. You know, Campbell County, Pennsylvania, you know, 50 miles, Farmville, 50 miles from here, basically. At the end of the year this year, my circle's going to shrink. While I would love to continue and establish business in Charlottesville, just because the average price point is double. Okay, the average house sells for double, the average foreclosure sells for double in the Charlottesville market than does here. Okay, it's easier when I do what I do, when I have more than one. Okay, it's a lot to do what I have to do if I have to drive to Charlottesville and back for one house. Because I have to make inspections. Okay, I have to regularly.
But if you can hit them all at one time.
Yeah, if I go to Charlottesville and inspect 2 or 3 houses at a time, and it takes me all dang day. And by then, hopefully I'll have a good assistant back here and I'll be calling stuff into. Yeah. I text them all the pictures, I email them, whatever, send them all the pictures here. Here's all the pictures, do this report. You know, I'm on to the next property, take more pictures here. Here's the pictures, do this report, get it all done. So, but Casey can't do that stuff right now. She's working 40 hours a week and she's only working like 10 hours a week for me. So.
Glad we have you to list them.
Yeah.
Well, if I get any foreclosures or anybody wanting any, like, you need to call Mike.
Yeah, don't do that.
Get it straight from the lender, right?
Please don't do that. I don't work with buyers well. I have a very low tolerance of stupidity. So feel free to pull my listing and sales history. My listing and sales history for the last several years. You'll see 85% listings, 15% buyers.
Yeah, I'm not representing the buyer partly.
So
Listings come
if you
up.
get a buyer that comes up and says, hi, you know, I want to buy a foreclosure, you're their person.
No, that's
You
fine
are,
for me.
you are their
Listing,
person.
call Mike.
You know, it's really easy in the MLS today, okay? It really is really easy in the MLS today. Only a very, very, very few of our clients, our REO clients, tell us to not put in there that it's a foreclosure, okay? So we can, in the listing, in almost every one of mine, I will flag it that it's a bank-owned property, bank-owned property. You just don't put in the word, okay? But I flagged it that it's a bank-owned property. When you're setting up your searches for your buyers, for your investors, okay, to say, find me foreclosures, okay, just check. I'm looking for whatever the different choices are in that category, special, whatever it is. Bank-owned foreclosure, short sale, just check off everyone else. Every time one goes to the market, they're gonna get the listing. Every time the price change happens on one, they're gonna get the listing. And it took you 10 minutes to do that. And you look like Wonder Woman. Okay, they think you're awesome. And you're not doing anything after that. Because you're gonna get a copy, you're gonna get the email, they're gonna get the email. And then you can say, oh, hey, you know what? Did you see this one? And they think you're sitting there working for them. Isn't that great? So, but don't send them to me and tell them. Mike
Yeah,
said
if I
that.
get Lizzie.
That's very
Right.
helpful. Anyone have any more questions?
Hey, Mike, I probably know this answer, but I don't know if everybody else does. What about people asking for closing costs? You know, obviously investors aren't going to, and I know the market's different, but God knows where it's gonna go in a few months, so.
You'd be surprised how many investors ask for closing costs, okay? HUD actually has a thing, if you look at the attachments in HUD listings, or if you go to the HUDhomestore.com webpage and you pull up the specific property, there's some attachments, they call them amendments or attachments or something. One of those attachments says they will no longer pay investor closing costs, but for a buyer, most of these companies will cap it at 3% of the sales price. $100,000 house, $3,000. Okay, so if you're working with a buyer that needs 5-6% in closing costs, you may not get that through. Okay, just like everybody else. Okay, they're not giving this money away free. Okay, they're subtracting that from the offer. So your $100,000 offer minus $3,000 is now, as far as they're concerned, it's a $97,000. And it's being looked at in comparison to any other offer on that basis.
One more question. What type of loan is more likely to get approved besides cash? I mean, I know cash is probably their top, but what type of loan do the banks like to see?
Yeah.
What's the least favorite?
Right, and that's where my job comes in as far as being the eyes, the ears, knowledge bank for the market here. Because I'm expected to photograph everything and report everything. I have to tell them before the house even goes on the market, what type of loans is it going to qualify?
Like FHA and VA,
So,
not qualified.
Beasley, she's looking at my Beasley listing, okay? I put it in the MLS. This house will not qualify for VHDA, VA, USDA loans.
You didn't put VA.
You didn't put VA.
Didn't put VA. Guess what somebody submitted online, because they get to go into the system directly and submit these offers. They don't have to run the gauntlet past Mike LeBay. I'm telling you, it's a gauntlet. Because when you guys send me an offer, it's wrong, I send it back to you.
Yeah,
Okay.
you sure did.
So somebody sent in a USDA offer, and I told her, because she's in farm, I just didn't deal with her in farm not long ago. Did you not look at this?
And guys, do you know how irritating it is to write a contract? It's not fun. It's not free time. It's not. So why would you just educate your clients ahead of time and tell them if they call and it says that, say they will not accept your type of loan?
You know,
Before you write it.
The problem is I'm still required to send it. The problem is I'm still required to send it in. This is where my aggravation gets, okay? With some of these, with that one, it's not a big deal, okay? Because you, property she's talking about, you will submit yourself to offers.com. You will do all, I won't do anything. It's wonderful, okay? With HUD, you will do all the work. I will do nothing. It's wonderful, okay? But with others, like houses that are in Equator, house of runner, 19 offers. You send me an offer, okay? I have to take all of your paperwork and I have to transcribe it on the report for every offer. So for 19 offers, I had to put on your name, what company you work at, what's their address, what's their phone number, what's your email address, what's the buyer's name, are they an investor or an owner occupant, how much is the EMD, how many days do they want to inspect, type of loan if it's a loan.
What's their IQ?
What's your blood type?
Are you doing are you doing inspections? How many days for inspections? What's the name of your title company? Who's the contact of your title company? What's their address? What's their phone number? What's their email address?
Because they don't want to look through 19 contracts. They want you to put the guts of the contract in there.
What's the name of the seller's title company? What's the contact of the seller's guy? I mean, they should have this shit pre-filled. I'm sorry. They should have that part of it pre-filled. I still have to fill it out. And I did it 19 times. And then guess what? Then we sent out for highest and best. Guess what?
You gotta do it.
It has to go back in again.
Oh, wow.
And then, and y'all learn this, please, when people, highest and best, when y'all get a request for highest and best, that means right now, right here, right now, this is it. Highest and best right now. Dude, and I put this on my Facebook page, you'll probably see it. I put this on my Facebook page this morning. Do not. 2 days later, when Mike Levan sends out an email to everybody and says, I'm sorry, the sellers picked the person they want to work with, they've already got it. Do not send Mike Levan an email and say, I want to raise my offer. I'm sorry. I got something in writing from you because I require it in writing. I got something in writing from you that says this is my client's highest and best offer. I'm not sending it in. I told the broker that last week.
That's insane. So Claire, Emma, and Riley, y'all can't wait to do some meetings.
I don't know, I was under the impression, and maybe this is just because I've done many of them, that the USDA, regular FHA, and the Virginia loans would not qualify for foreclosure just because they were as-is properties.
They're as-is properties in that the seller's not gonna make any repairs before closing, okay? The buyer can't touch the house before closing. And trust me, if the buyer wants to touch the house before closing, I know 90% of the times, all they're gonna do is make that house better. Okay? But they're not allowed to. I've had things happen to houses that I didn't know were happening to them. But if I look at the house and well, everything here, it does appear to be working. I report that to the people. There's no reason for them to not take these USDA. Because I'm telling them, look, and we're in a rural area, okay? The house is in good shape. We think everything in this house is working. HVAC is working, there's plumbing, looks like there's insulation in the attic. The roof looks good, the windows look good, everything looks good. We don't have a disproportionate value of land to sticks and bricks. Okay, they're not going to do a USDA loan on a house that's on 50 acres of land. They're going to tell you to go to the Farm Bureau or something. But anyways, when I tell them yes, at that point, then now I will tell you if they're sitting there with 10 offers and the offers are this close, and somebody's got a USDA loan and somebody's got a conventional loan.
Mm-hmm. That's happening.
That's their call.
Right now.
Very seldom does an asset manager ask me which offer to take. In the few instances it ever happens, I'm shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because these asset managers handle hundreds of files at a time. Hundreds at a time. So I mean, they're experienced; they know what they're doing. Okay, but every once in a while, I will tell you, one asset management company is actually calling me on the phone now and asking me, when they're looking at 5, 8, 10 offers, Mike, here's the top offer. Call that agent on the phone, and I want to know that that buyer actually saw the house. Because things are so fast, so competitive right now. People are submitting offers. People may have even asked you guys to submit offers on a house sight unseen. And once you go into a video, and by the way, I'm sure you told these people, if you are asked by a client to go in and take a video of a house, you darn sure better get the seller's permission. You cannot just go inside somebody's house and start taking pictures. They slammed the door on that a couple of years ago. We used to do that all the time. We thought nothing of it. And buyers don't think anything of it. Buyers, I got a phone with me 24 hours a day. Click, 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 click. Can't do it. Okay, you have to ask permission. Okay, but I know buyers are asking. Take pictures. I'm just going to make an offer. I trust you. I trust you so much. How many have ever sold a house sight unseen? Yeah, it's a scary proposition.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, you're sweating it up.
You want that buyer to sign a piece of paper? Is there a form now?
Yeah, there is a sight unseen. I've had
Okay.
listing agents ask me for that recently on some of those.
Yeah, I just recently asked for it to be you to submit it to where when an agent opens up something, that sight unseen is in there. They can archive it, but I want it there right away because we're doing so many of them. Because, you know, as an agent, when you don't do that all the time, you forget. So we have our loop that when you open it, certain forms are in there and you can archive them or keep them. And it goes in front of your.
Yeah, well, that would be a good idea.
Yeah, we need that one in there. And the escalation clause, which now people are.
That's in there.
That was a no.
Oh, I know we've lost almost everybody here, I'm sorry. This should have come up first. Do not send me an offer with an escalation clause. Okay? Don't, just don't. I'll say terrible things. Tell your buyer, look, we're not playing around, okay? Highest and best. You know, an asset manager cannot sit here on every single house when they're managing 400 houses. And now I've got 10 offers on the table right here. And I've got to say, well, now this person's gonna go up $250 and this person's gonna go up 500 and this person. God, this cheap asshole is going to go up 100. Yeah, they're gonna do this folks. I'm not gonna do it either. So I've been against it since day one. I know people love it. I'm one of the people that thank God I don't have to deal with them.
Well, the agents aren't taking them. I mean, now we're getting a kickback saying no escalation clause. So that's kind of happening about 50% of the time.
Even though we took the time to fill it out, but yeah.
I want to take those agents to lunch. Yeah. I understand. Believe me, I understand. It's just like the thing where somebody calls me, you know, 30 minutes after I say, I'm sorry, they took another offer. And they say, wait a minute, can we still submit another offer? Well, wait a minute. You know, you were told to submit your highest and best offer. I know you couldn't do an escalation clause, but I mean, when somebody says highest and best, here I am.
If your escalation clause is at 150, then you just need to offer 150. I mean, if that's where you're at.
I had at least one agent going to popoffers.com, which a lot of companies are going to because you and me are paying that fee. Okay. We're the company that actually is using the system isn't paying anything. That $180 fee. I had an agent at least once, maybe twice, submit offers that were escalation clauses. And I can tell you in one case, she'd got the house if she'd just done it right. She, my escalation clause. I said, what escalation clause? Well, because it goes into that system, it doesn't come to me. It doesn't have to really go past Mike. It didn't really go with past Mike. Okay, so Mike didn't get to tell this person, you can't do this. Just bring me a decent offer. She uploaded it in the system, and there's nowhere in the system for her to key in an escalation clause. I mean, it's a mathematical formula. Okay, if they wanted to, they could write the program. I mean, it's a software thing. They could just pay somebody, write the software program. You can put in your escalation clause. Thankfully, they haven't done that yet.
Well, they were strong for a while. Now they're going back out. So it's
yeah. Well,
so if you have a listing, can you put in the agent remarks that we're not accepting escalation clauses?
Just say highest.
Yeah,
Just say one best, no
highest
escalation
and best,
clauses.
no escalation.
You can do that.
you may want to.
Yeah, check with.
I don't want to.
Yeah, check with Carol. Let's make sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I've seen
I don't want
that
to
in
do your.
there.
I don't want to do your job. You can get something writing from yourself. Make sure it's enlisted. Get something writing from the seller saying no escalation clauses. Put it in there before you put no escalation clauses in there.
Put
Kind of listings right now,
Put
so-
highest and best, no es- I mean, I personally think that sometimes with an escalation clause, you actually do get more for the house because people get in a frenzy.
And you may.
Sellers like it.
Yeah, makes them feel like you're doing something.
Or go and read Mike's Facebook.
I just don't see where escalation clause is not a tool, in my opinion, to use in this market. I just don't think it is. Maybe I'm thinking wrong. I don't know, because I don't like it to begin with. You know, because the sellers are controlling everything right now. The buyer's trying to take control of it at that point in time. I'm trying to be a cheapskate.
I think
But
it makes
if I'm-
buyers offer more money.
If I'm forced to not be a cheapskate, I will do this. You know, I mean, I get it. I get the concept of it. Stop being a cheapskate. Thank you all. Be prepared to walk away from the video. Y'all get it? I'm here. I'm easy to reach. Mike Levan.
This is
Need
my
any
third
help?
class and I still have to call Mike when I don't have one, just saying.
Yeah, if you need any help with an REO deal, I don't care if it's not me. I'll answer general questions. I can't get involved in somebody else's deal. Okay. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. But if you have general questions about an REO deal you want to get into, ask me. Okay, I do know, Fannie Mae's rules, even though currently, and I do say that currently I am not a Fannie Mae listing agent, but I know the rules. So if you're trying to get into one of somebody else's deals, it's a Fannie Mae. If you want to ask me about the rules, I can probably answer them. VA, I am a VA listing agent. Peggy does this area, I do outside the area. If you have a VA question, I can answer that. VA, thank God, is going to that system where you put the offers in yourself. As I can tell you, their system for the listing agent to put in was terrible. So good for that. Of course, I should be able to answer just about any HUD question you should ask, whether it's my deal or Cheryl's deal. So that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry I took so much time.
No, we
I talked too much.
I'd rather you be more thorough than less thorough.
Yeah,
To the point person.
I can tell you right now, you can ask a lot of people, and a lot of them will say no.
I can see
It's a well,
why,
it's a well,
but-
it's a well-earned reputation. I got everything. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much.
Mike.
We appreciate it.
Y'all get out there and get to work and stop sitting on your butts inside. Okay? Y'all go out there and start prospecting, find some buyers and sellers. We need listings, people.